Well, this month, according to the United Nations, India surpassed China as the most populous country on the planet.
India
officially became the world's most populous country, surpassing China with over 1.4 billion people. Known for its rich cultural diversity and deep-rooted traditions, India reaching this population milestone marks a major demographic shift, as China held the top position since the early 1950s. But what factors fueled India's remarkable population growth? In this video, we take a closer look at the history, social dynamics, and key influences that contributed to India's rapid rise, and explore what this means for the country's future. Let's begin. India's population story begins thousands of years ago. During the Indus Valley civilization, one of the world's oldest, between 3300 and 1300 BCE, this civilization flourished in what is now modern-day India and Pakistan, and it laid a foundation for human settlement. Early settlers benefited from the region's fertile land, abundant water supply from the Indus River, and favorable climate, all of which encouraged stable, agricultural communities. Life in these early societies focused on family and community. Families often had several children, which was seen as a sign of prosperity and security. A large family provided more helping hands for farming and other activities. As a result, having children was encouraged, which naturally increased the population over generations. As time passed, India saw the rise of powerful empires like the Maurya and the Gupta empires, which were known for their advancements in science, mathematics, and urban planning. These empires promoted agricultural practices and trade, which helped sustain a growing population of Indian society. During this era, the Indian subcontinent was home to over 50 million people, a significant number for that time. In the 16th century, the Mughal Empire arrival also played a role in shaping India's demographics. The Mughals brought advancements in irrigation, architecture, and governance. The stability provided by these empires allowed India to sustain a growing population. However, there were also challenges, like invasions and conflicts. Yet, India's resilience meant that even in times of hardship, communities rebuilt and continued to grow. With the foundations set by ancient societies, India was prepared for rapid expansion in the centuries that followed. In the 18th century, the British took control of India. This colonization, which lasted until the mid-20th century, brought changes that would influence the Indian population in unexpected ways. The British introduced infrastructure like railways, telegraphs, and roads that connected people across vast distances, leading to internal migration and increased interaction among communities. This connectivity also allowed for better distribution of resources and more efficient agricultural practices. British rule also indirectly influenced population growth by introducing healthcare improvements and sanitation, which reduced mortality rates. For instance, better hygiene practices, vaccination campaigns for smallpox and other diseases were initiated, lowering death rates significantly and allowing more people to survive into adulthood, leading to increased population growth. Although conditions were often harsh under colonial rule, these healthcare initiatives had lasting effects. However, British policies also had negative impacts. The economy of India changed under British control, with high taxes and many farmers forced to grow cash crops instead of food crops. This led to food shortages and famines, which tragically caused many deaths. Despite these challenges, the overall population continued to grow around 380 million due to the improved survival rates among children and adults. Another impact of British rule was the establishment of cities as administrative and trade hubs. Cities like Kolkata, Mumbai, and Chennai grew rapidly as people moved there for work. This shift towards urban life further encouraged population growth in specific areas. While rural areas remained densely populated, cities were beginning to take a larger share. After gaining independence, India faced new challenges and opportunities that would continue to shape its population. In 1947, India gained its independence, marking the beginning of a period of rebuilding and rapid transformation. One of the most significant events was the partition of India, which led to large-scale migration. with over 10 million people moving across the newly drawn borders of India and Pakistan. This movement added to the complexities of managing resources and infrastructure. In the years that followed, India embarked on a journey of industrialization and economic growth. The government launched 5-year plans focusing on agriculture, infrastructure, and industrial development. Urban areas grew as people moved from rural regions to seek jobs in cities, leading to increased population density in urban centers. India's population growth rate during the 1950s and 1960s was among the highest globally, reaching around 2% per year. By the 1970s, India's population had crossed 500 million. Economic growth, combined with improvements in healthcare and sanitation, reduced mortality rates further, contributing to a rapidly increasing population. India also made significant advancements in agriculture with the Green Revolution in the 1970s, which introduced improved farming techniques and high-yield crops. This transformation allowed India to become self-sufficient in food production, helping to prevent famines and ensuring that people had enough to eat. With a rapidly growing population, India began facing unique challenges and responding with various policies. India was the first country to introduce a national family planning program in 1952, aiming to control population growth by encouraging families to have fewer children. The government encouraged family planning through educational campaigns, offering resources and incentives to families. However, these efforts initially faced resistance due to cultural beliefs, limited accessibility, and lack of education, which made it difficult to reduce birth rates. By the 1970s, the Indian government took a more aggressive approach, introducing sterilization programs. The 1975 emergency period saw forced sterilizations, which were highly controversial and sparked backlash. The program was eventually revised to focus on voluntary family planning, but it struggled to meet its goals. Despite the challenges, recent programs have made family planning resources more accessible and affordable, with contraception use rising from 13% in 1970 to around 54% in 2020. India's fertility rate has dropped significantly over the decades, from 5.9 children per woman in the 1950s to around 2.1 children per woman today, close to the replacement rate. This decline shows progress, but population growth remained high as traditional beliefs and societal norms in many parts of India still favored larger families. Additionally, India's young population, one of the youngest in the world, meant that many people were reaching childbearing age, further adding to population growth. While family planning aimed to control the numbers, other factors continued to drive India's population growth. India's cultural and societal norms also played a substantial role in population growth. Family is at the heart of Indian society, and having children is often considered a blessing and brings honor and joy to the family. In rural areas, large families are still common, partly due to the belief that more children provide greater security and support, especially in old age. Marriage is also an important part of Indian society, which contributes to population growth. Early marriages, though on the decline, are still prevalent in some regions. The average age of marriage in India is around 22 years, and with early marriages often comes earlier and more frequent childbirth. Another cultural factor influencing population is the preference for sons, which is deeply rooted in Indian society. In many families, sons are seen as the ones who will carry on the family name and provide for parents in their old age. This preference can lead families to have more children in the hope of having sons, leading to an increasing family size. This son preference has also led to a gender imbalance, with around 930 females for every 1,000 males, as recorded in recent census data. In recent years, there has been some change in these cultural beliefs, especially in urban areas. Many young people are now focused on education and careers, and they may choose to have fewer children. However, traditional values still hold a strong influence, especially in rural areas where larger families are more common. India's society and traditions are powerful influences, but there are also modern challenges contributing to population growth. Another driver of India's population growth is the combination of modern challenges and rapid urbanization. In recent decades, India has seen a surge in urbanization. with millions migrating to cities in search for better opportunities. Today, around 35% of India's population live in urban areas, a figure expected to rise as urban centers expand. This urban shift has created both opportunities and challenges, such as overburdened infrastructure, housing shortages, and increased pollution. Cities like Delhi, Mumbai, and Bengaluru are facing challenges relating to housing, sanitation, and infrastructure as more people arrive each year. Despite these challenges, urban areas often provide better healthcare, education, and job opportunities, which contribute to higher life expectancy and lower mortality rates. Life expectancy in India has risen from 41 years in the 1950s to over 70 years today, further contributing to a steady population growth. However, urbanization has led to significant resource strain. India's population density is one of the highest in the world, with around 464 people per square kilometer. As cities continue to grow, managing resources like water, housing, and energy will be crucial to sustaining India's future population. However, the rural areas still have high birth rates, which means that the overall population continues to increase. As India continues to evolve, we look towards what the future might hold for its population. India's population story is one of resilience, adaptation, and growth. From ancient civilizations to modern cities, each era has added a unique chapter to this journey. The factors influencing India's population growth are complex, blending history, culture, economy, and modern challenges. As the most populated country, India faces both incredible opportunities and daunting challenges. Managing a large population requires balancing resources, infrastructure, and sustainability. While family planning initiatives and modernization have slowed growth rates, India's young population ensures that growth will continue. Experts predict that India's population will peak around 1.6 billion by 2060, before gradually stabilizing. The question remains, will India turn its population into its greatest strength? Or will it face challenges that hinder its progress? The answer may not just change India's future, but the world. And there you have it, a journey through the history, culture, and key factors that have made India the world's most populous country. India's story is one of resilience and evolution, with a future that could shape the global landscape. But what do you think? Will India's massive population drive it towards becoming a global leader, or will it face more challenges in managing its growth? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this look into India's demographic story, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more insights into the forces that shape our world. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.